Hey guys, welcome back to part number 5 of my AV-8B Harrier build. So, to be honest, last week we finished painting. It kind of looks a little like toy-like, a little shiny and plasticky. So today we're going to take that kind of toy look away and make it more model-like. So we're going to weather it up using washes and oils and sanding, all different methods. So I'm going to run through this one, get it weathered up, and hopefully by the end of this episode it's going to look more like a real aircraft and less like a toy. So let's go ahead and get started. Hey guys, welcome back. So this one's been put on the back burner for a little bit while I've been contemplating what I was going to do. As we mentioned before, the top color is way too light, the instructions are incorrect. We need to darken it up. Looks different ways, maybe salt chipping and stuff, but a lot of ways of doing this is going to make it lighter rather than darker. So what I'm going to do is, I looked for my drawer to find a really dark grey, and I found this one, XF91, this Japanese grey. If I open it up, you can kind of kind of, it's a lot darker. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to spray on this stuff, this is my game plan, for this darker part on top, I'm going to spray the top, not completely kind of mottle it and kind of blend it in, spray it on the top, and then maybe come back with some splatter mask and add some more stuff and then sand it back to create different layers. So that's my game plan at least. I'm going to go with a few different options here. I guess I could reach out to Trumpeter and get, email them, pay for a new set of decals. That'll probably take a month or two to arrive, and just repaint the whole thing and go from there. But again, I think the way I'm going to do it is going to work out. So I'm going to avoid the decals. I'm just going to kind of put it in very thin paint. I'm going to thin it real heavily and just kind of really darken this up. I know the wash is going to help darken it up too. We use oil paints as well at the end. But so that's my plan. I'm going to do with that. These guys which we painted up last episode, I just took a sander and sanded it back. So it looks all kind of strange now. But again, this will be sprayed too. One thing I noticed too is looking at the various pics online, I did make a mistake with these guys. Luckily they just clipped right off, but these exhaust vents, I painted darker iron. But actually they should be, the body colour should be light gold grey. So I'm going to paint these light gold grey too, to make it more accurate as well. It's a mistake I made earlier on in the video build series. But I think it should probably be dark iron on the inside, so it's not a big deal. So we're just kind of mist on the outside and create a little bit of weathering and the light ghost grey colour. Cool. So yeah, really cool. So alright, so let me go ahead and get this guy mixed up real thin, maybe I don't know, like 60-70% thinners to paint, and I'm going to mist some of this on certain parts and we'll see how it looks. Worst case scenario, we're just going to strip the whole thing back, order some decals and go again, but hopefully, fingers crossed, this is going to turn out okay. So let me fire up the paint spray booth and I'll be right back. Okay, we came back and we've darkened it up, kind of like how I'm looking, but I had to go a few different steps to get there. So what did I use? So I used my 91, like I said, wasn't quite happy the darkness, so I thought I'd try 75. That wasn't quite the dark I was looking for, so in the end I came back and used darkest I got, dark grey XF24. You can't get much darker than that. So all these different colours of coats underneath, again just misting it on, not hosing it on or doing a thick colour, just kind of like blending it in somewhat, and I got this effect which I'm kind of quite happy with. So definitely better colour, how it should be. Look at reference pictures, the XF24 is looking good. Also went around the side with some XF23 just to kind of, again, just break up some of this colour, make it more less toy-like, more modelling. So I kind of went through and just sprayed some around different areas to kind of break it up a little bit too. And I painted those exhaust nozzles the same colour, the XF23 as well. So now we've done that, I'm going to come back in some more painting and do the airbrush stencils. These are MIG, but they're actually Ushi van der Rosten repackaged. Come in different sizes. This is the largest, I think better suited for 30-second scale. You get 3 different sizes inside the box. Used these a lot in the past. I kind of really like them, but if I was to do it again, I'll definitely buy the AK ones because they're like flexible vinyl. So with this, it's metal photo etch, so you can't bend it around corners very well, whereas the vinyl one's a lot easier to use and bigger as well, I think. So I'll definitely get that in the future if I have to come across it. But for now, I'm going to use this. So what I'm going to do is simply put it over areas of the top half here. Again, we're going to weather up this top section. And I'm going to come back with the original color, which was US Dark Ghost Grey, which was the the color we started originally. So I'm going to start with that and spray this over it, and hopefully it's going to create a nice kind of like little effect and kind of give that kind of worn down kind of look. So okay, so I'm off the spray booth again. MRP dark goes grey. You don't need to thin this stuff, it's really thin anyway. I'm just going to lightly spray, move this stencil around and spray this top half section. Okay, so we got this guy looking a lot nicer than it was before when we first started this part. So looking a little bit more kind of beaten up and kind of weathered, but I want to continue that to get it a little bit more beaten up and weathered. So I'm going to take my sanding sponge. It's probably about somewhere around about 600 grit. It's probably where you want to be, 600 to 1,000 grit. And I'm just going to lightly rub the paintwork. And what's going to happen is not only is the shiny paintwork nice and shiny, but it's going to take away different layers of paint we put down. So it's going to create a nice kind of rough, kind of like worn kind of look. So I did this with my Meng F18A and it worked out really good. So I'm going to do it again with this guy. So what I'm going to do is take my sanding sponge, just sand, and you can see it's bringing all through different kind of see what it's kind of doing there, how it's just sanding away the paint. Use that black primer too, it's going to bring black parts as well. And on the light part. So I've decaled this already. You really want to do this before you decal, but I'm just going to be careful around anyway. This decal's on, I'll rip them off. Got those tons on this guy anyway. So you can see what I'm doing there. I'm basically just rubbing this all the way over. The more you do it, the more paint comes away, obviously, and you can pick and choose areas you want to weather up. So I'm just going to go ahead, you kind of get the gist of it now. You haven't need to sit me for 20 minutes while I do this, but I'm just going to go ahead and sand it all down where I like it, and I'll come right back to kind of show you guys where I'm at. And then what we need to do then is to obviously wipe away all the dust, and then apply a clear coat for the washes. So you can see, especially on the spine here, is kind of what I'm really going for. And you see the look we're getting. So I'm going to go ahead and carry on with this, and I'll be right back. Okay, so you can see what I got going on here. So really kind of looking much better, looking worn, looking where I want it. So I'm going to take my anti-static brush, see all the dust coming off, give it a good clean, all over. Oh, knocking the camera, as always. And just get away with all that dust, which we basically paint we sanded off, very smooth paint particles. There's that guy, and once we did these two. And this is really smooth. When you hear a squeaky noise, it means you got really smooth plastic. So two things, it not only makes paintwork lovely and smooth, but it creates that nice worn effect, as you can see here, which I'm really kind of digging how it looks now. So looking much better than when we started. It would look like a toy, now we're looking more like a model. So now I'm going to come back and I'm going to give everything a clear coat. Yeah. Just checking, it's so smooth. Yeah, I'll stick to my usual practice. I mean, I'm two minds about this because paintwork's so smooth. I don't think it needs one, but I can do a clear coat anyway, just so I can get the wash on and get the wash off without it kind of sticking too much. So I'm gonna give it a quick blast of LP9. Oh, this is quite a big beast, so it's used quite a lot of this guy. So I'm gonna give it a quick clear coat to get that surface really, glossy, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about the washes. Okay, so I didn't use the LP9. In the end, I thought let's go ahead, because it's so smooth, I think it's not going to stick in the texture. So the wash that is. So I didn't clear gloss it. Check what I just said like 2 seconds ago. We've already clear coated earlier on the process. So I just went ahead and threw the wash on this side right here and let that dry for about half an hour. So we're going to take that off in a minute. This side I've not touched. So as always, we use Flory Models Dark Dirt Wash. Really like this, a clay-based wash. You put it on, let it go for 30 minutes and wipe it right off. If you're not happy, just wash it off with water. Super safe. I just put a little bit. You don't need much. A little bit in one of these like little plastic kind of containers. You get like shot glasses. You kind of get from Amazon. You get like 100 for like $5. And I like to add a dash of water. Just a dash of water, just to thin it out. It just makes it flow a little better and come off a little bit easier too. So we did dark dirt, and then also grey. So here's the grey. So the grey I basically use for the tail, because with a tail, the dark dirt doesn't look good with black. Grey works really good with black, so it's still a little bit wet. So that one's the grey for that, and dark dirt for the rest. So this is super easy. So all you do is literally just get a brush and just wipe it everywhere like that. As easy as that. Just wipe it all on. Over your decals, everywhere. Just gonna hose it all on, and I'm not gonna do the whole thing right now, but you get the idea. So do that, and let that sit for like 20-30 minutes to dry. So now this side is dry. Click my cutting mat. This side is dry, so all I'm going to do is take my, let's get a clean piece, a bit of kitchen paper, just kitchen roll, just kind of broken little pieces, and then with the direction of the flow, so with planes it's going to be front to back, with helicopters up and down, and I'm just going to wipe this off. And what you should see is it's going to remain the panel lines. See, it stays in the panel lines and it gets removed from everywhere else. So this is quite a big aircraft. It takes quite some doing. Depending how grimy you want it on, you can leave some on or take it all off, or whatever you need to do. The purpose of the gloss coat is it just stays in your panel lines. If you have a really rough texture, like if you do armor maybe, that might work. You make it more, be hard to get off, and it'll kind of stick more. So you can kind of see there on the side, light grey, you can see it a little bit easier. What I'm doing too is I'm licking the stuff, so it's a little bit moisture, it just comes off a lot easier. And there you go. Again, it picks out all the panel lines compared to like there, where it's not been done. Then back here, you see, it just makes it a little. Makes it a little bit darker too, which we want because this is very light to start with. So I'm just going to go around taking all this off like so, and I'm going to go ahead and do the other side, and when I'm back, I'll show you where we're at. Okay, so part of me doing these videos too is kind of help you guys, so I make mistakes and you don't have to. So despite me putting left and right on Sharpie, I went placed against the aircraft and I painted them the wrong side. I don't know how I managed that. Duh. So it should be facing down, so the wrong way around. So all that work and paint we did on these, now I've got to redo it. So not a big deal. So switch it, so paint dark color on this side, on the upper side, and the light on the underside. Somehow, I don't know how I managed that, especially wrote left and right on both two, but I still managed to screw it up. So these will have to be redone. Romy's loading up the airbrush and the spraying these. I'm gonna wait till I get to the fuel tanks and the doors, the landing gear doors, that kind of stuff. I'll just paint them at the same time and add these later on. But yeah, though, despite left and right, I still somehow managed to kind of screw that up. But yeah, there you go. So again, they should be facing, on the angle facing down, not up, obviously. All right, back to weathering. Alrighty, oil time. So yesterday I did the wash, got that off, and I gave it an XF86 clear coat. One of these. So that's my final clear coat, and that's essential with oils. If you have any kind of glossy coat, it's not going to work. It's going to rub right off. You need some texture, which matte paint, flat paint kind of creates. So I really kind of like how we're looking on top here. I was thinking about maybe just some oil dot filters and stuff, but I really kind of like it. I don't go too crazy. It's don't spoil too much. So I'm going to do a little bit of oils on the top, but mainly on this light blue. I think is where we're going to do most of the work. There's a big lump here. So as always, 502 oils, app smoke, and I'm going to use the 502 odorless thinner, although the Tamiya X20, the enamel thinner, works really good too, the blue top. These are really confusing because everything's X20, X20A, X20, so this is an enamel version, enamel paint X20, the blue top. This works really good if you can't get hold of the this guy, or maybe Winsor & Newton. Basically get a high grade, refined, odorless thinner, enamel thinner is what you need. And oil paints. Don't cheap out. These kits, spend $100 on the kit. There's no point, going to the dollar store and getting a dollar oil paint, which is crap. Get nice paints. They last a long time. These Abteilungs, I said I've had this for a few years now, and you see how much I got left. So the $7 it costs, whatever, is a worthy investment. Free brushes, as always. I don't think I need to talk about it again, but one to put it on, a soft bristle, and this one's almost end of life. It probably gets thrown away after this one. It's had a hard life for a couple of years, but this helps to blend it. Q-tip, and Q-tip's basically because if you put any too much on, it just wipes right away. The beauty about enamels are they don't dry. It takes a couple of days to dry, so you've got plenty of working time with this stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a little bit of oil paint, and that's probably about it. And get some of my brush, wipe away some of the excess, and we'll start with this, follow the power lines. So we'll start with going across the kind of spine right here. So I'm just going to lightly, again, this stuff is less is more. You don't want to put tons of it on. Okay, just put it on like that, and then just blend it in. And easy as that. So that's done. If you're having a hard time blending it, add a little bit of thinners to a brush, but when I say little, tiny, minuscule, like micro part, one little drop of that will wipe the whole model clean. It's potent. So what I recommend, if you do, just dip another brush into it, wipe it off to completely dry, and then that's probably enough to kind of help you blend it a little bit better. So that's that one done. Let me do one on light blue so you can actually see it a little bit better, I guess. So let's maybe pick this pound line right down here. So same thing, get some paint. I might as well just keep it going all the way around to the other side. Like so. Bring in my brush. And blend. And there you go. Oh, helping put on camera. So that's what I'm basically going to do. I'm going to basically work around the lower kind of blue sides, the light blue, light ghost grey. We'll do a few on here in certain places, but again, you're not going to see too much of it being dark. We just use it to break it up a little bit. So I'm going to use smoke, and then what I'll probably do then is come back with dark bitter yellow, which is good for hydraulic colors, hydraulic leaks. Even though it says it's yellow, it's actually an orange color. So that'll put in my main two colors. Maybe Starship Filth too. I might add a little bit of that in to come break it up. That's a good color too, Starship Filth. So yeah, so I'm going to do it off camera. I'm going to put a nice podcast on, relax, and go work my way for an hour, work my way around some of this jet, do some of these more lines, exactly the same way as I just showed you. Just a little bit on, just blend it in with another brush, basically. And that's it. So let me work that out, and I'll come right back. Alright, so we're done with the oils. Put the tails and the horizontal stabilizers on too. It's kind of a big beast, but there you go. A little bit, I don't know, maybe I went a little bit over the top. As I say this every time, it looks a little junkyardy kind of thing, but I guess these things weathered pretty good. I mean, it certainly looks a lot different now than it did at the start of this video when it's like a toy. It's definitely heavily weathered. I guess these things are on ships and stuff, and you know, all that kind of jazz, but yeah, there you go. It's going to mellow out a little bit, the oils too, overnight. You know, it takes a couple of days to dry, but yeah, it's definitely weathered for sure. Maybe next time, I think, maybe my next build, I'm thinking we'll do a motorcycle or a Blue Angel or something in gloss finish. So I was worried, I was thinking, oh my god, it's a tail sitter, but then I realized, oh, it's no problem, because it has two sets of wheels. There's wheels at the front and wheels at the back, so that's not a problem at all. So I was a little bit worried it's going to be a tail sitter. As you can see now, the tails are on, it's definitely tail heavy, but hopefully with, you know, the way now 4 wheels on this thing, 4 sets of wheels, it shouldn't be an issue. While I was at it, I took the fuel tanks and did the same weathering, weathered those up the exact same way. See those guys? And the other side, when you make your fuel tanks, make sure you cut the little thing out. They're kind of like, you can have them left or right, and if you see how they have one fin like facing on the outer side, and so on the inside of the plastic here, you got to kind of cut a little bit out, depending which side you use. I actually forgot to do that as a tradition, so I had to just like kind of fudge it and kind of eyeball it, cut the tab off, and super glue it on. It seemed to work. So they get these beautifully kind of removed the seam lines, but when I came back and weathered it with a sander and stuff, it seemed to take the paint away. It seemed to kind of show a bit of a seam line kind of thing, but I think it's gonna be okay. So these go on the inner one, so this one goes on. This one will go on like that, kind of like that. Cool, coming along nicely. I mean, whew, a lot of work last few days doing on this video in particular, a lot of steps. Mainly myself being a dummy, I got, you know, doing stuff wrong or that kind of thing. But yeah, here we go. So looking good. I think for now I've finished with the weathering. I don't want to go too much more anymore. It'd be kind of pretty much junkyard. But I think we'll get away with it how it looks right now. Hey guys, so before I wrap this video up, I want to kind of go through a few things on this. It seems a little bit more complicated than it is. I'll explain why I kind of did these steps a little bit differently to normal to kind of avoid any confusion. So typically what you're going to do is you're going to paint it. I'm going to sand it down, get rid of that rough, that sanding method I used to get kind of, you know, get all worn and rubbed down. Then I'll get decals on, and then I'll come back with gloss coat, the wash, and the oils in that order, simple. The reason this episode started with that a little bit different was because I wasn't happy with the paint work. The colors they gave instructions weren't correct. So I went through all the methods. I did the paint, I did the decals, and really kind of ready for a wash and oil. But then what I found was I wasn't happy. It looked like a toy. I think it looks way better than it does now. It's way better now than it did. So I had to then go back retroactively after putting decals to kind of go back, repaint it, the top half, repaint, weather it down with a sanding sponge and round decals, and then go from there. So that's, I don't know if it kind of makes sense. It's a little bit more convoluted. Also, dummy I am, I made some mistakes. Like I sprayed the horizontal stabilizers the wrong color. Well, I thought sprayed in the wrong color, and then I sprayed them again. I found out they were the right color the original time round. So yeah. The problem with that is, with this one, I put it down for about a month and worked on some other stuff, And I think I normally like to work on one kit at a time and focus on that. I think when you put something down, you kind of lose track of where you're at and what you're working on. So the casing point was those horizontal stabilizers. I didn't realize I thought the wrong color and the right color and all that kind of stuff. So I did create some extra work for myself with this one. So again, you kind of see the steps I've done, but if you looked at the last video and this video, some of it's kind of duplicated because again, I'm painting it over and over again. But I think what we ended up with is, you know, I'm happy with what we got. It's just that initially, well, really that top color was just incorrect on the instructions and it kind of threw me all off, but we got there in the end. So I just want to kind of clarify that so it didn't get confusing, because I know it's a little bit out steps to what I usually do in my other build videos, but that's kind of a way to do it. So it's just, again, wrong color. I should have really, before I started putting decals on and everything, I should have really, when the color was wrong to my eye, I should have just fixed it then. But I guess until the decals on, you don't really know, because yeah. But anyway, so that's a lot of waffle and stuff, but I hope that kind of explains why I went the processes I did to get to this stage. And if so, well, that's it. So I'll be back next week, hopefully plain sailing. So we're gonna work on the landing gear, getting that on, all the little doors and the weapons and stuff. And then probably 2 more parts and be wrapped up on this. So thanks for watching. As always, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing or becoming a member, join the channel, that kind of stuff. It all helps support the getting better equipment and getting better content out to you guys. Have a great week, and I'll see you next Friday.